Hi there, I'm Scott and I'm doing the weekly chat with James, Ian, and anyone else who wants to join in on that. There's a few people that sometimes do it and I sometimes do it and sometimes not, and I'm trying to do it more. So here I am. The topics, what order do you watch the Star Wars movies in? Well, I don't really want to watch all 6 of them in one go. I mean, that just maybe like one per night if I wanted to, and I usually don't because the prequels are not great. You know, I've had well enough of those. I was anticipating them for a really long time before they came out. When they were in theaters, I saw each of them at least 3 times. Probably, you know, but it was Star Wars, you know. I mean, even though it was bad, I still couldn't help wanting to see it just because it was Star Wars. I read an article very recently in which a guy basically talked about what the best order to watch the entire Star Wars saga is. You start with Episode 4, A New Hope, the first Star Wars movie ever made. You're introduced to Luke, you're introduced to Ben, 3PO and R2, you learn about the Force, you're introduced to Darth Vader, the big adventure begins. Then The Empire Strikes Back, the follow-up to that, where Luke finds out some rather uncomfortable truths about his family. And then at that point, instead of going to the final film, you go back. You go back to The Phantom Menace. You start with Episode 1 and go 1 through 3. Make it a big, long flashback. You find out what Darth is all about, where he came from, all that stuff. Young Obi-Wan, the fall of the Republic, the rise of the Empire. And then once that's all done in Episode 3, you jump back to where we left off before and we watch Return of the Jedi and see the Empire defeated, see the Emperor destroyed, see Vader redeem himself, see Luke reunited with his friends, and it's a happy ending, unlike the ending of Episode 3, which is downer, you know, because everything's bad at that point, you know, and the episode isn't really that good anyway, because Obi-Wan hands little baby Luke to Owen and Beru and doesn't even bother to explain exactly who he is or where he came from. Apparently, the no dialogue rule of the end of each of these movies applies to, you can't even have him talking without hearing what he's saying. You know, he just has to hand it to him without not say a word, and apparently everyone just knows what that's all about. I'm surprised they didn't have a shot of Uncle Owen looking at Kenobi as he goes away and kind of going, this guy, man, who does he think he is? Anyway, so that I think would probably be the best way if you wanted to watch all 6 movies. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, and then finally 6. That would probably be the most viewer-friendly order. Not, you know, chronologically, not in the order that they were made, but just, you know, the best viewing experience. Here's a question that I really love thinking about. Which films are miscast? I've, just for kicks, recast lots of movies in my head. Particularly Reservoir Dogs, you know. I'll transplant the cast of Grey's Anatomy into Reservoir Dogs, or cast nothing but A-list movie stars in those parts, or maybe have it be an all-female Reservoir Dogs instead, and see which actresses would work best in those parts. But in terms of, obviously that movie is a great movie and doesn't need to be recast. Movies that actually have bad casting in it, well, first of all, there's a very obvious pick, and that's The World Is Not Enough. The James Bond movie with Denise Richards as a nuclear scientist. Yeah, she got that movie because she was in Wild Things a year and a half earlier, and she was hot stuff, and everybody thought that she was like going to be the next big thing. So they cast her in this movie, and she was awful. She's worse than anyone could possibly be. A good substitute for her would have been Carla Gugino. Not a big name, but she would have done very well with that part. I like her a lot, and she would have done very well with that part. A lot of actresses probably would have done better than Denise Richards, probably, but Carla Gugino especially. Another movie which came out a little earlier than that called Palmetto, you probably don't remember that one. It was kind of a low-profile movie. Woody Harrelson's the main character. There's kind of a murder mystery that he's caught up in. Anyway, there's a couple of female roles in there. One, his girlfriend, his loyal, trusting, honest girlfriend, and the other is the femme fatale, the temptress. Now you'd think that if you cast Elizabeth Shue and Gina Gershon as these women, the choice would be obvious. You cast Elizabeth Shue as the loyal girlfriend, you cast Gina Gershon as the femme fatale. But no, they transpose those two, and maybe they were doing it just to change things up, but Elizabeth Shue as a seductress, yeah, just, I don't know, it doesn't work. Just didn't work. Then Gina Gershon would have been much better suited to that part. Anyway, Not that movie matters all that much to begin with. Another film that got a lot of attention for its casting when it was first announced was Interview with a Vampire. Tom Cruise was thought to be a terrible choice for the role of Lestat. And after seeing the movie, I'd say he did a good job. You know, he had fun with the part. He was kind of like, what I like to say is that if Interview with the Vampire was a movie about Wyatt Earp and you know, the OK Corral and all that, then Tom Cruise would be playing Doc Holliday. He has the fun stuff to do, whereas Brad Pitt is all glum and glowering and just like sad at his lot in undead life or whatever. I thought, well, when the movie was being announced, I thought, you know what would be better to do is you have Tom Cruise play the Brad Pitt part, and then you have Val Kilmer, his nemesis from Top Gun, play Lestat. You know, he's got the voice for it. He's got the sort of intimidation, the mystery about him that Tom Cruise does not. Plus, Val Kilmer is already blonde. That would have been how I would have cast the movie back in the day, had I had any say in the matter. Antonio Banderas, on the other hand, perfect for that part. He was great in that part. He was like one of the best people in that movie. And Kirsten Dunst as well. Really liked her as well. James in his video mentioned what a stupid choice it was to have Kirsten Dunst play the supermodel level hot Mary Jane in the Spider-Man movies. And yeah, maybe she isn't a supermodel, but I never thought of her as a bad actress, and I think she's quite pretty actually. I know she has crooked teeth, but so does Keira Knightley. You know, I don't think many people complain about her good looks. I don't know. I guess Kirsten Dunst is everyone's taste, but I like her a lot. She's been really good in a lot of stuff. Anyway, those are the main topics. So there was one other topic about how do you like to arrange your discs, your DVDs and Blu-rays. What's the perfect way to do that? If you had the means and you know, to like make incredible elaborate display racks. And you know, the racks that I have are tipped sideways. So all the discs are lying flat on their back, so they're easy to read. I like them that way. But yeah, if I had a huge wall with massive shelving on it, then yeah, maybe I would face everything outward just to make it easier to access or make it more of a display. I'm not really into displaying stuff. I'm not really into the packaging anyway. I mean, it can be an elaborate design, it can be plain box. It doesn't really matter to me as long as it's durable, because what really matters is the film itself, the actual contents of the discs. That's just me. Anyway, that's my weekly chat video, and planning on doing it again next week too. So I look forward to other people that are going to be making those videos as well. Thanks for watching. See ya.